Hey, everybody, it's Tuesday.
I almost thought you were going to say Thursday. But welcome to this week's edition of The Night Fight.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Emily. And we're laughing about 2 shows a week, I guess, because from here all the way until I always go backwards in the camera. The Wisconsin Ice Fishing Expo. We are going to be here with you each Tuesday, each Thursday, 7 p.m., bringing you live sometimes a product, sometimes a person, sometimes a place, sometimes who knows what you're going to find at the Ice Expo. And so we are here to bring a little bit of all of that. Before we get ahead of ourselves, though, we do start with a fishing report. And one of the things about this last weekend is honestly less fishing than normal, and because we got rain, we got wind, but when you get both of those things together, it was just really pretty yucky to go out. So the funny thing is, I had pushed for us to go out after work on Friday. That's not something that I often do. And I didn't think the weather was going to be that bad. But I think that we were lucky that we got out on Friday because we might not have otherwise at all.
Yeah, we didn't. We just chose to stay off the water. It's tough, especially when it's cold out, to get your stuff dried out. And yeah, it would have just been kind of miserable. So, and judging by how fishing went on Friday, it wouldn't have been super busy either, at least for us. So, we went out Friday. It was kind of slow. We did a bunch of stuff, cast it around, threw some bobbers.
Water temps, though, are still high 50s, 60 even, but not really in the 60s. And so I was really excited when we hit the water at the first point, if that makes sense, because when I saw that water temp was coming down, it just helps those fish scoot towards that fall pattern and school up, and that bite is on. Well, not yet, because honestly, I would say that these fish were reacting a little bit more like a cold front instead of fall fishing. We were having to downsize. We were having to do a lot of like fan casting because fish were kind of like singly around in similar areas. And so honestly, like we were using a live scope more than we tend to, because we were looking around, we were finding where these fish were pushing to, because as we were casting at them, it was pushing them around. So no matter what baits we were using or bobbers or slow or fast presentations, it was kind of all the same reactions. And ultimately the bites that we got the fish, and the bites that we didn't. I guess that's dumb to say, but sometimes you get like bite, and then the fish isn't there, and that wasn't happening. So you either got them or you didn't.
Yeah, that's true.
As for this coming weekend, we have no idea what's going to happen. So I'm looking forward to see what the water temps are going to do, what this weather trend is going to do. But ultimately, let us know where you're at. Let us know what your water temps are like. Let us know if your fish are in fall patterns or if they are not there yet, because this is the time of year where transition is happening, and it's interesting to watch it all the way across. I was going to say the ice belt. It's not quite ice yet, but that is the direction that we're working towards, and we could not be more excited.
Yeah.
With that, let's talk some ice fishing. And I think our guest tonight, that's their specialty. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like right as I'm going to introduce you is when I see you like going to like rearrange your screen. I tried to buy you some time there. Sorry. Welcome to the show.
Nice to see you guys.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for being here. So we are so excited to jump in and talk all kinds of things. Ice fishing, deep freeze. I was going to say an ice fishing because I'm so excited. But first of all, can you introduce yourself? Can you tell us a little bit about deep freeze?
Sure. Well, my name is Brad Stroik. I started deep freeze back in 2013 now. So we've been around for over 10 years. First product that sort of formed deep freeze was our one-shot skimmer. Probably all are familiar with this. And then we moved on to the blue tip sip-up alarm, then the easy auger stuff, and we're going to talk about a new product tonight as well. So that's when we started. That's sort of how we got started. Also excited to have a new member on the deep freeze team, sort of doing some of our 3D drawings for us. He's really helped us with this new product that we'll talk about later. His name is Lincoln. So welcome to the team, Lincoln. He's going to be a great asset for us. And yeah, we're ready for hopefully a bitter cold winter with good ice.
For sure.
So for people who have
Fair.
seen you at an ice expo before, well, because at least that's where I run into you, but you have products, I guess, all over the place, stores and online and everything, right? But for people who have run into you, there's a lot of products that they might recognize. But one of the things I just heard from what you were just saying is that you design your products. So you're not just like buying things from China and like renaming them and setting them out there and hoping for good things, right?
Absolutely not. Nope. That wouldn't be in my DNA.
Oh my gosh. So, I mean, one of the things that I love to do though is to talk to people about, because I think they forget, deep freeze, like you're a big name. I don't know. I guess you're still like a little big company. Can I call you that? But I think people just assume that you have like all kinds of designers, that you're a huge company, but these are really your inventions. Like you are an ice fisherman and you came up with these things.
That's correct. I mean, we don't have a ton of people behind the scenes. We definitely do have our valuable people that help us out, family, friends, and we need it. But like I said, this year, a major addition for us was Lincoln. He's really going to help, as opposed to when I used to sketch something out and take it to a manufacturer. Now, I mean, he's got the 3D model that we can easily share. We know the communication from point A to point B is not going to get misconstrued. So we're really looking forward to having Lincoln on the team. And who knows, maybe he'll take us out of ice fishing a little bit. We'll see. He's a hunter himself, which I am not. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, we're excited for the future.
Very cool.
We are excited for the future as well. And so it's hard to not jump to the new things, but we're not, because we'll keep people waiting, right? Or something like that. But I think really because my true love for deep freeze started with your ice skimmer, the whole, what do you call that again? I'm so sorry. I never know what to call that.
So we started with the one-shot skimmer. Now you'll still see one-shot skimmer on the label, but actually like on a website like a Fleet Farm or something like that, it'd probably listed on their pro skimmer.
Okay.
We sell that in 6, 8, and 10-inch models. We do downsize it by about 3/8 of an inch, just so it's not binding in the hole. But it's pretty simple. It just goes down sideways through the slush. Then you turn it. You can scoop all that slush out at one time. It folds down really nice for your bucket or the bottom of your sled. Yeah, I mean, this has been a flagship product for us. There's not a lot of glitz and glamour behind it. It just works.
It just works.
And I think that's why it's been so good for us. We always talk like at the St. Paul Ice Show. That's the one we've been going to for the longest now. We're like, man, when's this thing gonna lose its gusto here? But we always see a ton of people at that show walking around with it.
Okay, and part of it is because of your demonstration at the expos, because you have like it's almost like an ice hall, and then it's like water and ping pong balls, and it just makes so much sense. It seems really silly, but the thing about it is, and so you can bring your kid up, and they could do this. You lift out all the slush, all the ping pong balls in one shot. It is so cool. But that's a nice thing, is that when you go to the ice, whether it's bumping around the sled, whether it's your kids trying to clear all the slush out of the holes, that's a durable thing, but it's also fun to use.
That's 100% correct.
And so when we are talking about this, it does come in all of the different hole sizes. So no matter what people are looking for. And I don't know, it's one of my favorite products. So I hate that's why I didn't want to glance over it too quick, but I don't know. It is so cool. It makes a really great gift for the kind of person who already has everything, because they might not have that.
Sure. And then the other thing too, I'll mention before I forget is, everything is available on our website, deepfreezefishing.com. Otherwise at our partner retailers, be it Shields or Fleet Farm or Reed's or whoever it might be. But now too, I mean, obviously the big thing is buying on Amazon. And that we've learned that you need to send them a bunch of products so that product can be spread out across all their different fulfillment centers. And the hope is that, and what we've seen thus far is that wherever you are in the ice belt, you are going to have 1 or 2 day shipping with a lot of our products. So that's one thing we tried to get better at this year, was because last year we noticed on Amazon, like, what the heck, it's there, but it's a 4-day lead time. And we had just learned that you just need to stock them up more so they can spread all that product out. It's nice being able to buy on Amazon. There's a lot of trust there. Shipping is reliable. So yeah, check everything out on Amazon, whether it's a skimmer, Easy auger stuff or the blue tips.
All right. Well, that's exactly what I was going to move on to next. And not to, I guess, throw you under the bus, but this is, I feel like one of your favorite products is the blue tips. Is that true?
Well, I've been sitting here quietly because I didn't want to interject into Emily's scoop talk. She just is so passionate about that thing. And it's really cool because not only is it a versatile tool for just being on the ice, but ice houses as well, because you can take all the slush. Doesn't get all over your floor. You can just chuck all of it all at once. Keeps it dry inside. But like you mentioned, like you have the easy auger system. So I'm going to touch on that a little bit first before we dive into blue tips, because there's a lot to talk about with the blue tips. So I feel like, so the easy auger system.
Wait, you can't just jump?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with the auger and then we'll talk about the other one, because
fine.
Because I really like the easy auger system. And Brad, you and I kind of went back and forth with the razor auger stuff, trying to get an adapter that would work with that, and we figured something out. So that was really cool. And since then, I've put it on all the version, all the sizes that we have for our razors, and it's so convenient. And not only is it convenient for being able to switch the sizes, but because we also use the deep freeze ice anchors, that you can swap, you can take your auger off, jam in a bunch of ice anchors, and then put your auger back on and drill more holes if you want. And it makes it just so much easier. And for the both of us, we prefer to walk around on foot, even if it's a larger lake, we just kind of pick a landing. If it's a super large body of water, we pick a landing where we're close. And because we just don't, machines just add an extra thing to go wrong for
Sometimes
us.
we do that, but the little lakes we have so much success on, so it's hard not to go there.
So we walk a lot, and so the easy auger system really allows you to just like detach your flighting from your drill, be able to pack it up nice. There's not a lot of overhang and stuff all over the place. You can pack everything in a sled, and it just is super convenient. I think this is my third or fourth year with one now. I can't remember, but like, I just spray a little bit of deep creep from Seafoam in it like at the beginning of the season and the end of the season. I don't have any problems with it ever, sticking or being giving me any grief, and I don't have to, take it out of the drill all season. It just stays in the drill. I make sure that it's tight every once in a while. But other than that, love that thing. It's so awesome.
Yeah, I think, Josh, that's the most important thing is if you have your auger, and I got the pistol bit right here, if you use their end that they supply you with in the store, now this is the easy auger one, but if you're using the normal one and you're trying to chuck that into your drill, you're dealing with a 3-foot bit, 2.5, 3-foot bit. And to try and get everything lined up perfectly and square and then snugging down that chuck can be really difficult. And that's why people burn those out, and then they got to get a new end, or much worse, they probably burn it out during the middle of a trip, and that might deem that auger useless. With the easy auger, so we just have the quick chuck as part of the system. This is what you're trying to get square into your drill. So it's much easier to try and land those flats. That's the most important thing. Whatever tool you're putting in, you even look on a bigger drill bit, they'll give you a flat, right? They give you a flat for a reason, so you can lock down onto that flat. Well, that's what you want to do here too. When those chuck teeth land on that flat, you tighten it up, and you'll start hearing those smaller clicks, and then you give it one turn back, like a 30-second. What that does is it locks the chuck. Now, I'm not going to say it's a for sure thing, but it definitely does help with when you hit that auger. Let's just say you're out of the water, you hit the auger and then you immediately stop it. There's a lot of torque there. Well, that's equivalent to loosening it, actually, that deceleration. So turning it back will help with that. So just trying to keep everything secure and tight. It's so much easier with this quick chuck. And then, as Josh said, as you gain trust in it, you'll sort of learn how often you need to, go and do that and retighten it. But at least you're not trying to stare at this 2.5-foot auger and make sure that it's square in your chuck. Because as soon as it's not square, there's so much torque in that auger where it's going to bite and then it's going to loosen up. And then as soon as it loosens up, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I love hearing what you're saying because I think that there's a few different tips in there that maybe I don't even know if you know how good of these tips are. So the first one is, I think whenever we talk to people like ice expos, like we'll work the razor booth a lot, you know, and we're talking about the drills, the number of people that don't know about the lock on the drill. And so you did a really nice job explaining that. If you missed that, rewind 30 seconds or whatever it is. You'll find that, right? But that tiny little click back, I think that is such a great thing. You'll even see later, there's a little lock icon on the top of the drill, or at least ours. I noticed that. I don't know. And so that's, like you said, a really great tip. Make sure that it's locked in. But I also didn't realize how you were explaining when people are stopping the drill. Use way better words than I do because you know the science of this. It puts, did you say torque on it? And it's like basically like it unspins it. You did a way better job. Again, people at home, rewind this 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's just deceleration, very quick, and that's what, you know, wants to loosen that up.
But the reason that I'm bringing this up is because so often, okay, you'll see ice fishermen walk on the ice, and especially when they have the drill and they do this.
Yeah.
Like if you walk from hole to hole, like how do you, I don't know why, but I never even considered that could be like loosening the chuck or affecting the performance or whatever. Like it seems like a funny thing. Like when you go to an ice show, you're going to buy a rod and people like shake it or they do the bend. You know, there's just funny things that ice fishermen do. And that drill, that's one of them. And so I'm guilty of that. And so I think that's something that I'm going to make a habit going into this ice season is like, don't do that because I didn't realize the amount of wear and tear that's putting on that gear.
Mm-hmm. The other thing too, inevitably, you know, we sell a lot of the easy auger stuff. So I'll see, it's not a bunch, maybe 3 emails a year with a picture of our quick chuck stripped out on a stem. And what happens is it just wasn't in there quite square enough. Now, we don't deny that this could happen if it's not in there square. But now you're just replacing this little $20 part. You can carry an extra one and you can just sub that out instead of having to do something on your auger end. It's just a lot easier to have this quick chuck be the midpoint as opposed to your auger containing everything.
Yeah, and one other little tip is I went through and I marked where my jaws are because you do have such a hefty stem on there that the jaws don't protrude out from the chuck, and
Correct.
so it might be a little bit tough. And like going back to like you said, it's a lot easier than trying to do it on an auger, but it still might be a little bit tricky. So I just take a file and I mark the top of the chuck in those to put indication marks so I know exactly where the center of each of those jaws are. And then it's way easier to line it up and just tighten it down.
And here's another tip, Josh. What you can do is open that chuck wide up, right? And then you put the quick chuck in, tighten it up a little bit, and then grab that quick chuck and kind of spin it. And then it'll hit on one side, it'll hit on the next. The midpoint is your midpoint, right? And so you set it there, tighten it down, you're good.
There you go.
You're good. Okay, so as we talk about all of this, I don't know if this is going to be difficult for you to do on camera, but can you actually connect it? Like you have, because Ryan is asking, he's saying he assumes this is a quick connect with a pull lock and that it just goes over the auger end.
Yep. Just like that. And then when you release it, it's a little bit more difficult for me to do sitting down because we're sideways, but you can imagine if you're on the ice, gravity helps that auger just fall right out. But I can just do it here. You push it down and then it releases. And you're not going to have any issue with we call the piece in the auger adapter, and this would be the quick chuck. You're never going to see any wear on this auger adapter portion into the quick chuck because we have so much surface area with the 7/16 hex. So if you ever do get wear, and I'm telling you, we hardly get any in a season, it would be on that stem of the quick chuck. But the way to prevent that is to just put it in square. And it's very easy to do when you only have a 2 or 3 inch part as opposed to a 30-inch auger.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So then
Oh,
I guess
Ryan is also asking, actually, perfect question, and that you can use it with the ice anchor bits.
that's what I was just going to
Yeah.
lead into.
Yeah.
So we'll start with last year's anchor. I don't know if you probably won't see it on the camera, but we really put a lot of thought into these anchors. Like I'm sure you guys saw it. We had a reel that we put out maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. It's got like 700,000 views or something, and people are, you'll get all sorts of comments on there. But we really do put time and thought into the design of these anchors. So the tip on this anchor from 2023 is going to look different than just like a sharp screw, with no sort of cutting edge on the tip. Ours does have a cutting edge, so this thing will really bite when you put it into your drill, into the quick chuck, and you put it down into the ice. The other thing here too is, if you think about a traditional anchor like this, and you have your anchor tool like this, and we still will sell these with the Easy Auger system. If you want it, we'll sell it. There's just a lot of inherent slop in here. And there's really no way to get around that. With our easy anchors, this 7/16 quick chuck is going basically onto a 7/16 inch screw, and it's so easy to stay centered, and all that force is going to the tip of your anchor, as opposed to you trying to keep this thing square. I don't think people realize that, is that there is effort involved in keeping this square and going straight into the ice. That's why it's more difficult to put those things in addition to the tip being a different design.
Well, and I really have noticed a difference using those ice anchors. Like, they just go in so much easier. They come out so much easier. I love that there's a flange on there, so you can really get like a good seal like set on the ice, and there's a little bit of support. So if it is windy, it's not wiggling them around a lot. They're just a really good addition to that Easy Auger system, I think.
Sure. And then I guess the next thing I'll mention is these are Gen 2024, and this is what the reel that caught all the attention. So you'll see these. We have the black caps, and then we have the black cover. Now, the business end of this anchor, I mean, it's got a heck of a cutting tip. This is like what you would see if you go on Amazon, like ice climbing anchors. On there, they're going to sell for like $60 or something. We have ours marked for $15. Now, this is going to be full disclosure, because I think it's something we need to mention. The reason that these things screw in so easy is because they're hollow, right? Like, you're not displacing a whole bunch of ice because it's a hollow body on it. So when you screw this thing in and you remove it, depending on the density of the ice, like, there's science behind it, there's a chance that you might need to remove that core before the next time you put it in. If it's soft ice, you probably don't need to. You could probably get 2 or 3 uses out of it. But as soon as you'd be screwing it in again, and if you feel like it's not biting, all you do is you can put your hand on it to slightly warm it up, fling that core out, and then you're good to go. Josh and Emily actually collaborated with us on this, and it's funny how much thought process goes into a new product. And we're trying to figure out, if there was a way to expel that ice, and you could have done it out the top potentially, but then we'd be butting into our quick chuck, and it just, for what we want to do with it, we thought it's easy enough to just remove that core if you need to. So that's the full disclosure on this product. However, when you try and screw this thing into solid ice by hand, it's like night and day compared to the old style. And it's even honestly quite a bit different than our version from 23. This is just a whole different design with that hollow body that screws in much easier by hand. And when you put this on a drill, it's honestly just like butter cutting into the ice.
Yeah, they're super awesome. And like you said, we kind of went back and forth on how to get that ice out of there. And honestly, it really doesn't take that much body heat for that ice to come out.
No.
Even if you dunked it in an ice hole, I'm sure, you know, the water is liquid, so it's not frozen. It's above freezing, and they'll come out. It comes out just fine, and we're super excited to get some use out of them because I think it's gonna be pretty fun.
Yep, and it's a stainless steel material, so I mean these things they're rock solid.
Mm-hmm.
So coming up to Ice Expo season, I'm always like, I wish it was cold enough that there would be enough ice that we could try all of the ice augers. But I've got to be honest with you, like I just wish that there was a way that we can get like enough ice blocks for everybody to try this, because it is honestly like so crazy. We were at home like freezing different ice blocks and stuff, and it was it put me on like this process of like how big of an ice block. It doesn't matter the size, like to test it. It's silly. And it worked in every single ice block, which is dumb to say. But I just continued to be surprised because it was so easy to do. And honestly, it was one of those things that like became fun. Like we were at the counter and we like kept screwing them in and out, and it kept working. And so it's one of those things I'm so excited for everybody else to try because they're going to love it just as much.
Yeah. And it's funny, like we, as ice anglers, I think you kind of need to prepare yourself for the worst, right? And when we're talking about this product, what that means is you need to prepare yourself for the hardest ice. Like there can be all sorts of different types of ice. I remember one year at Lake Winnebagosh, we had these on our perch fishing trip. And for whatever reason, I don't know if it was rain that had froze on the top of the ice, so it was very pure or something like that. But this standard anchor had no hope. I could put everything I had into it, and it just wouldn't bite. I mean, it would start making a little mark in the ice, but it wasn't going to bite and go in. Whereas this, when you freeze ice at home, it is extremely solid. So that's why we know that when we test this, we don't get any progress. And then when we put this in there, and it's just night and day.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a whole bunch of questions from kind of all the things that we were talking about in the last few minutes. So as far as the easy adapter, there are people looking for the razor. Is that available? They're not seeing it on Amazon, or should they keep looking?
Do that one on our website.
Okay.
Razor.
And also, Dwayne is asking for an adapter that fits a Strike Master 6-inch auger. It's a smaller shaft than the 8-inch auger.
Yep. It's probably like I forget what the style of that is. It's almost like a Mora. That's likely our pistol bit. But if he got me the dimensions for the inside diameter of his auger shaft, I could easily let him know what adapter would work. 99% it's the pistol bit version.
If people have questions, could they get this at the Wisconsin Ice Fishing Expo?
100%.
There you go. And the hollow ice anchors. I almost couldn't think of the word. Holy cow. Can you show us those one more time as far as like how will straps attach for a hub and all of that?
Sure.
So it does have the T-straps.
Yep. So we got the T-bar going through for the straps. And then if you're going through a grommet, you have the washer there.
Perfect.
Love it.
Perfect. If there's other questions or comments, drop that in that comment section. We will definitely get back and chat about those things. Otherwise, I'm looking forward to seeing all of this at the expo, but this isn't even everything that you have out on your display.
It is not. So now do we want to get, actually, this is what it'll look like in the store. Like if you see it at Shields, that's what the Easy Auger would look like.
Awesome.
Then you'll have K-drill, light flight, or pistol bit. But you can dig a little deeper and question us, and we have a whole document of what augers work with which adapters. The packaging would just get a little bit messy if we tried to include everything on there.
Right.
I happen to know that you have great customer service. Cool. So dare we move on to blue tips, or is Josh going to divert us again?
No, I didn't divert us the first time. Brad diverted us. He brought out the new guns. Isn't even ready for that yet. But no, so the blue tips, that's something that I've been using for quite a long time. You've had the that's probably up there as far as longevity as the scoop almost.
About
And
2 years after maybe.
yeah, so they all of you have seen these in whatever outdoor store that you shop at, and they are super cool. Like I still have some of the regular blue ones. I have some of the Flex series now. These are they're super versatile in the way that like we use them on our finicky fooler. I use them on my beaver dam tip ups. We actually attach them to rattle reels. Like there's all kinds of uses for these, and it's really cool the way you have them set up, because I think a lot of people know them as like the transponder that goes to your phone, but you also have a standalone alert box that you can set up. There you go. And so even if your phone dies, or if you don't want to use your phone and you just want like a standalone unit, it's super cool. And there's so many options when you're fishing with your friends on like the new ones that are out, that you can have different colors, you can have different sounds on your phone, you can label them. It keeps track of your fish catches for you, if as long as you like put in the rest of the information on your phone. Like it's a super cool system.
Okay, so you went through one of everything like so fast. I feel like we need to do that in slow motion.
Well, that's what Brad's job is.
There you go. Just do all of that. Do the whole show. No. So where do we start for somebody that is new to blue tips?
Yeah, if you wanted to get in base level, you'd be getting yourself a transmitter, which this will hook on to your, any standard tip up flag. If you have a skinnier shaft, thicker, we have bands, adapters that can help you attach to whatever device it might be. Out of the box, we're going to have it set up to alarm and light up when it goes from down to up, just like a tip up does. And honestly, it's as simple as that. Then you have the free app on Android or iOS. Download that, and it's pretty much plug and play. There's no like pairing process or anything like that. You can name the transmitters if you want to, and that definitely does help. If you're fishing with multiple tip ups, that way when you're in the shack, you'll know exactly what tip up went off. You can use the fish log within the app at the end of the night and say, hey, this one was hot. Tomorrow morning or tomorrow evening, we're going to, move out to that break line or that depth or whatever it might be. So that, that's in its simplest form. That's what it is. Then, as Josh mentioned, you can add the receiver if you want to. If you don't want to use your phone, this will blink and beep. It also does act as a range extender for people like fishing out of a hard shack where that signal might not penetrate as well. This could be positioned outside the shack and kind of elevated, and then it'll pass the signal back onto your phone in the shack where you're fishing with it. Honestly, though, the nice thing about Deep Freeze is we obviously know this product front to back, and yeah, it's a considerable purchase. You're going to be $100 for two or $50 for one. You can ask us whatever questions you might have, and we're going to give you a truthful answer. We're going to give you the best solution possible for you. That way, when you get it, you're going to know exactly how to use it. If you have any follow-up questions, we'll help you through that. So it's just it's just a good thing to know that we're going to be behind you the whole way, because we want to see you having fun with them just like we do. And the other thing I'll say too is, these ice fishing weekends aren't getting any cheaper, right? Like the Airbnb, the gas to get there, maybe you have your own cabin, but the addition of blue tips, what that costs compared to some of the other stuff that'll add up over the winter, this will give you so much fun over the winter that it's totally worth it. We had trips last year where we had a bunch of young kids out there. And if I had to run back up to the cabin quick, I could easily do that. If they stayed out, I'd have my phone with me so I'd know if a tip up was going up. It's just a super versatile system, and it makes tip up fishing a heck of a lot more enjoyable and honestly effective. You can log, twice as many hours out on the ice if you want to think of it like that. I mean, you can essentially be fishing the entire time if you have your whole system armed with blue tips.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's go even to some basics. So as far as the blue tip itself, can you show us or describe to us how does it actually attach to the tip up?
Okay, so I don't have a tip up in front of me right now, but let's just everyone think about a Fraybill tip up light, right? Like 20 years ago.
If mine's beaver dam, does that still count?
Oh, that's good. It's just a simple snap on to the flag. Very simple. It's a true solid connection. So you will hear it. You will feel it. That's what we like about it. That's why it's designed. That enclosure was designed the way it was. We'd rather have it more solid on your flag than loose. So it definitely is a very secure connection. And it's really as simple as that, just like any standard tip-up light.
And I believe that Josh on our other screen is pulling up an example of how this can attach, so people will be able to see that as well as we're talking.
Sure.
And so as far as that unit on that flag, is that going to weigh that down? Is that going to affect the bite? Tell us about that.
Okay, so I'll go to the second part. Is that going to affect the bite? No, not whatsoever. Is it going to weigh that flag down? Obviously, yeah, it adds weight to the flag. However, with that spring action, if you have a good spring on there, that flag it might wobble back and forth a little bit more, but it still is going to find true center and look just like a regular tip up when you peek out the shack window.
Okay, and I'll also say that, like, when I use them, I don't set the blue tip quite as high on the flag. Maybe I've been doing it wrong. I don't know. This is what I do. So I have no problem with the flag coming up. I have no problem with detecting that or seeing that. But in addition to that, you see the light and you hear the alarm. So whether that's your phone, whether that's the indicator device, you are going to hear that. You're going to see that. And so I just know that's a question that comes along a lot is, you're putting that on the flag, but it still should not affect it.
That's correct, Emily. And you raise a good point. If you're doing, stuff closer to your shack, say 50 to 100 feet, you can keep that transmitter lower on the flag. However, I think you're probably going to find that with it being on that midpoint, that the picture that Josh just showed, really you're not going to have any issue. And then you'll get a little bit better range as well. The higher you are, the better range you're going to get. But honestly, it's not going to make a whole lot of difference one way or the other. My preference would be middle of the flag, but you'll get plenty of distance out of the bottom as well.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that you had mentioned when you were first going through the details is that you said out of the package, it's set. Oh, I'm using my spoon from my tea, so I'm sorry, it's not a Bluetooth. But you said it's set to go from this way to this way, an alert. So does that mean that it can do other things as well?
Exactly. Yep. Within the Blue Tips app, you will see that when you take it out of the package, it's programmed from 45 to 90 to alert. Actually, 45 to 135, back and forth. You can open that angle up. You can narrow it. You can, hold on one second. You can shift it down. You can do whatever you got to do to make it work with whatever device you're using.
Yeah, and that's awesome because that's something that we honestly also use. I forgot to mention with like dangler rod holders. So if you're not familiar with them, we've used those quite a bit in the past, and that's just a collapsible tip down. And so so these are really awesome for that too. You can set your angle so when your rod goes down, that it'll send you an alert. So I think we're really big on stuff that like goes cross seasons, and this may not be one that we use a lot in open water, but I think it's one that is worth the investment because for one, it's not like a one season product. Like it lasts for a long time. Like I said, I have some of the originals, like from when you first came out with them all the way to some of these new ones, and they all work, very well. So, I just think like, if you're thinking about it, it adds that little dimension to tip up fishing or tip down fishing, or just, even staying in a shack when you can put them on a rattle reel, like just adds that little dimension that you might not have had before. That makes it super fun.
Yeah. And then let's just go back to our customer support at Deep Freeze. You're going to read all sorts of things online, right? Well, we've seen so many questions over the year with so many different contraptions. info@deepfreezefishing.com. I will be able to help you out, that same day, let you know whether it's going to work or not. But odds are we can make it work because we have quite a few different adapters for these things. And we're glad to answer any questions you have.
Perfect. Gosh, giving info at Deep Freeze email makes it sound so official, like it's going to be hard. But the next thing I was going to bring up is the fun parts about it, because as if tip up fishing isn't fun enough in itself, and yelling flag isn't fun enough in itself. One of the things that I do like, and Josh, I think mentioned, but you can set alarms for the different tip ups. And so let's say that you are bringing your kids out or your friends out. You're going to have a tournament. You're going to have different people. You need to decide who's going to get what flag, or whose is whose, or keep track. Those are all things that are possible, certainly by the sound that it makes even. And so when you have a flag that goes off, even if people are up by the cabin or something, if you're tip up fishing in the winter, you're still going to know whose flag is going off and who needs to run out there.
100%. In its easiest form, you could give it their name. You can customize that tone to say Josh or Emily. Like it's that easy.
Mm-hmm.
That is so fun. But you even get to have them choose their own tone. I don't know. Sometimes Josh has a duck one, or there's fun ones that say duck flag one. Or isn't there a quack?
Yeah.
And then I don't know, but you can choose all kinds of funny things and customize it. And so I just love that.
I'm a loon guy.
Well, so here's a funny story. So I started this little office tradition. We go out, the guys from the office, there's 4 of us, and we started just renting a cabin just up the road. We all have families, and if we need to get back, we can, but it's far enough away. So I started this tradition, and the first year we went out there, I had, probably 4 or 6 of these. And, we have 4 guys. So that in Wisconsin, that's 12 tip ups. So I didn't have enough for everybody. But we started this tradition on a Winter Olympics year. And so I had our alarm, or I had my Bluetooth alarm set up for the Winter Olympics theme song when it went off. Oh man, that was such a hoot. All those guys thought it was the funniest thing, because we had the Winter Olympics going, and then the tip offs would go off, and then there's just people trying to throw boots and pants on to get out to the tip ups, and and it was it's such a cool memory. And since then, some of those guys have picked up a few because they thought it was just so fun, and their kids enjoy it now. And so now I had to pick up more so that we could have enough for everybody's. And it was such a fun time with that. So and those are that's the kind of stuff that's you're not going to get just tip up fishing, right? You wouldn't have that. I wouldn't have that story if it wasn't for the blue tips. So it's it's a really cool thing about this product that does that.
Really good question here. What type of batteries do the blue tips take?
Sure. So when we first released them, it was a CR2032 lithium. Now we've transitioned to a AAA, which that AAA has plenty of beef behind it. Doesn't even need to be lithium. It can just be your standard alkaline from the store. It makes it very easy to replace, but you're going to definitely get a full season out of that. But if you need to replace it, it's very simple to do. You can also read the battery life within the mobile app, so it'll tell you if you need to replace that or not.
Very cool.
And the only other thing I guess I have to say about it is I know you've talked a lot about how long you've had yours and yada yada, but the durability of them, because the other thing that I have to notice is it's a little plastic piece that you're using in ice season, and sometimes plastic and freezing temperatures don't mix. But as far as the usability and longevity of the product, we have had no problem even when they've knocked around in our sled once or twice.
Yep. I mean, we've switched it to a sealed push button switch instead of the slide switch. So we've made improvements over the year to really beef that thing up. Like I said, if there's ever any issues, we're very easy to get a hold of, and we will always work with our customers.
Awesome. So I'm getting a little bit distracted on the side screen here because Josh is clicking through the rest of your website. So for people who have not been there, go and check that out because there's a lot of great stuff there. A lot of great like adapters for the blue tips, whatever you're trying to attach them to or do or whatever questions you have. There's probably some kind of an answer there. But gosh, you even have a few other new things out this year.
We do, and this one I'm going to show you here. It's so the sticker on the front of it. It's not going to look like this when you buy it. This is kind of just like a fitting sticker now to make sure that we have the right fit for the final model. But what we have here is our insulated drill case for this season, and we've put a ton of time into this product. First thing you're going to notice about it, it's got some real easy latches here, pop up even if you got big gloves on. But what you're going to notice is that this thing is insulated. So your batteries are going to stay fresh out there on the ice as opposed to getting weakened by the cold. There's nothing more annoying than trying to drill a hole with a weak battery. Even if that battery's at 100%, if it's cold, it's not going to drill like it should. So this is our new product for this season. It's our insulated drill case. And what we did at first, I'll try and hold it up here. This foam piece we were actually machining. And then you would glue layers together, literally, to get that 3D, that different depth to it. Well, we decided that's not good enough. So Lincoln went ahead and designed this whole thing. We molded it up, and here's what we're left with. Now, the cool thing about this is a lot of guys are switching to these 12-volt big batteries. Well, they can't even store in your drill case. With this, it's as simple as that. It fits right in there. We have plenty of other storage for batteries along the side, battery storage here. We have all sorts of different accessories in this thing. Sorry, it's kind of hard to show on this.
Okay, but it's really easy to see on the website.
Yes. So we got a little tackle box in there if you want it. We have a microwavable warming pack to extend battery life even longer. Got a tape measure. We got a bit driver. We got different bits down here. So our thought process behind that was, you know, when you're out on the ice, inevitably, sometimes you're going to have to fix things potentially, especially like if you're in a hard shack. Well, we wanted you to actually be able to use that drill a little bit as, you know, besides for just your ice auger. So we have the bits in there. We have the bit driver. We're very excited about this product. We think it's going to do really well. It's a hard case solution as opposed to a bag. We like keeping everything contained in one spot and keeping it in its place. Throw it in the otter sled. It's going to be just fine. So that is the new one for this year. It's funny, completely different product development than like a Blue Tips electronic product. But yeah, we had a lot of fun putting this one together.
Well, this is so super cool because I know that people, ice fishermen, have two options. You take your drill and you throw it in your sled and you hope for the best. Or people have been, you know, trying to wrap it in jackets or get DIY cases or lunch boxes or all kinds of unique things. And I don't think that a good solution has really come to the surface. You know, people aren't all gravitating to something yet. But there's clearly a need to care for this gear as you get it out into the ice and use it. And so to see the size of the case, because I will say on the website is a little bit hard to get an idea of size. Like obviously the measurements are there, right? But when I see you holding it, that is so helpful to know because I don't think that I could find a box that would keep it at least half as safe, but fits so many other things inside of it. And so you even talked about having that big battery on there. That is so cool. That is so important, and so user friendly. So this is so exciting to see.
The other thing too is inevitably with some of these warm winters, you got to start to think outside the box and say, how can we transition a little bit if we want to sell products, you know, other than just ice fishing stuff? Honestly, that case, we took camping every time we went this summer. It turned into like our lighting box. So we put our LED lights in there. We put our Milwaukee inverter in there, and then we put our M18 batteries in there. So we had our 120 volt power if we needed it off the inverter. And then we had our lights too. So when you get it, you'll definitely realize that you can sub that drill out and just use it as a padded hard case for other things as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I really like that you guys thought of putting a unique warming option in that case. Like that might have been something that people forego, and they end up picking up like a 12 pack of the the shake ones, and having one that's reusable that you can put in there. Obviously, it might not last the whole day, but it'll give it enough to keep it from freezing, right? And so that's the whole whole deal.
We don't need that warming pack to be 70 degrees at 4:30 in the afternoon. Honestly, if you can keep it above 25 degrees, probably around that mark, you're going to be fine. It's when those batteries just sit out in that wind beaten cold and that wind's blowing across them that they can really start to lose life fast. And the other thing about this case too, it's got a weatherproof gasket. So you're going to keep your drill protected. Yeah, we're just super pumped about it. There's other solutions out there too that will use a battery to generate heat. Well, we didn't think that made a whole lot of sense because the whole point is to save battery life. So the cheapest way to do that is put a warming pack in the microwave in the morning. You're not going to get any cheaper heat than that. Put it in that drill case. Drill case is insulated, and it's going to buy you some more hours out on the ice.
That's very cool.
Okay, because it says that it's a waterproof box. You know who I also think needs this? And this is kind of a niche situation, I understand, but we're both close enough to the Wolf River. The Wolf River rafts. Like all those people who are trying to maintenance their rafts during walleye season, white bass, everything. Oh my gosh, they all need one of these.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. And I hate to ask this again, but I'm excited. So is this something that you're also going to have at the Wisconsin Ice Fishing Expo?
Yeah. So these are literally coming in on Friday. I listed them today on a website because I knew I was going to be talking about them here. So they will start shipping early next week. Honestly, I don't know how many we're going to have this winter just because it's an item that takes up more space on a pallet. So you can only bring so many in the warehouse at one time. But I anticipate we'll be ordering more. But if this is something you're definitely looking for, I'd say order early. That way we can get it out to you, and you're gonna have it when you need it this winter. But yes, obviously the goal is that we have these stocked up for the Wisconsin Ice Fishing Expo as well.
Perfect.
Cool. Unless we all buy too many before that. Okay, so we are nearing the end of the show here, but I do have to ask, is there any other products that you had that you wanted to talk about that we didn't touch on yet?
No, but let's go back to that drill case really quick.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the foam a little bit, the molded foam. So we went back and forth on how we could do that. One of the options was the pluck foam, right? I think everybody knows about that. It's just, can you imagine reaching in there for your drill and inevitably you're going to start to mistakenly pluck out chunks of foam that you didn't want to. So that's one of the main differences about our drill case is you might see others on Amazon and whatnot, but from what we've seen, there's nothing out there where they have custom molded this specifically for an ice angler to really get the best use out of it for you.
Sorry that this is a question not about the drill case. Mark is asking, as far as Oshkosh, are you going to have the new ice anchors there?
Yes, we will. Yep.
Awesome. It sounds like everything that doesn't sell out, you'll have there.
We will. Yes.
I'm very excited about this drill case. I'm really sick of throwing our drill into the sled. So this is a long time coming for somebody to make something that actually works and that will save your investments.
That's right. Yep. And it's in my opinion, it's a lifetime product, right? I don't see Milwaukee or DeWalt, seriously changing the form factor of these M18 drills or M20 drills anytime soon. So yeah, it's an investment that you're going to be able to use for a while. And like I said, you can even use it all year round if you're a contractor who's working on the job site and want to keep their batteries warm, or if you're camping in the summer and you just have other things you want to store in there, or it might just be your drill. It could be the drill you want to take for the road trip. So yeah, it definitely crosses over other markets besides ice fishing.
Nice.
Yeah, and all kinds of interests. I see Josh using this all the time. Oh my gosh. Great. So the problem is you do even have a few other fun things on the website. So if people are looking for, I don't know, headlamps and other fun accessories, there's all kinds of good stuff there. And so definitely check that out. All of these things are going to also be at the expo. And that is one of the great things about joining in these Tuesdays and Thursdays leading up is you get to see all of these hints at all of these products and things that you're going to see in December. So number one, I could not be more excited about that. But a really great time to also be, I know it's not even Halloween yet, sorry, but a really great time to be building your Christmas list, right? We're going to start seeing friends and family for holidays, and everybody wants to know, you're a fisherman, what do you want for the holidays? Honestly, almost everything that we talked about tonight is something that would be easy for a non-fisherman to buy for a fisherman. You know, it's really hard for people to buy lures and jigs and all that kind of stuff, but tickets to an expo or one of these fun fishing accessories to accent your ice fishing season. That's the things that I'm looking forward to coming up. So, Brad, thank you so much for being here with us this evening and talking about all of this.
Thanks for having me. It was fun, and I am really looking forward to Oshkosh. I mean, with the turnout last year and now this year moving into the bigger venue, I don't see any reason why it's not going to be even bigger and better. So
yeah, we are super excited also. I know that there's a few people in the comment section that are excited to see you there. And we are excited to see them there. And thank you so much for being here this evening, because all of these questions and comments and things along the way are really always a big part of the fun. I think Josh was able to put the Deep Freeze website into the comment link so everyone can check that out. And otherwise, we look forward to seeing everyone at the Wisconsin Ice Fishing Expo. Good night, everyone.
Night, everybody.
good night.